Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the newborn is her responsibility and don't bother me about it when she wanted a nap? My wife and I are currently separated. We have to wait 12 months before we can officially divorce. She was supposed to move out but is having trouble finding a place nearby, so custody 50-50 will be easier for our 3 kids. The reason for the divorce? My wife's twin sister asked her to be their surrogate. Apparently they, my wife's sister-in-law and sister-in-law's husband, decided that since they're twins, she was the best option, and that in 3 years, she'd carry another baby for them. This was all planned for weeks behind my back. I'll admit they didn't start anything medically until after telling me. The telling me was basically my wife saying, "This is my body, my choice, and you have zero say. So either support me or we can divorce." It wasn't as blunt as that, but the longer version still ticks me off. I simply said if she did it, we would get divorced. Well, 4 months later, my wife tells me she's pregnant, and I filed 2 days later. Somehow this shocked everyone. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law did everything in their power to shame/guilt me into changing my mind, but I just told them she is their responsibility now. During the pregnancy, my wife acted like I should step up. Like I did during her previous pregnancies, I'd always got upset when I told her, "If you want 3 a.m. burgers, call your sister." For some reason, this made me the bad guy. She even called my mother to complain about me not stepping up, and then got insulted when my mom pointed out she's pregnant with another man's child. Here's the major issue. Sister-in-law was in a car accident 2 days before my wife had their baby. She's currently in intensive care, and her husband hasn't left her side. Since the accident, my wife has been acting like I should be the baby's father until brother-in-law and sister-in-law can take over. She called me a heartless monster when I wouldn't go with her to the delivery room, and has demanded I help with the baby during the night. I've told her multiple times, call the child's father. He's the parent, and he should be taking care of and bonding with his kid. She always makes excuses for him, so now I just ignore her. Today, I had a day off work and my wife said that since I wasn't doing anything for a few hours, I could watch the baby while she naps and showers. I said no. She started crying, saying she was sorry for going against me with a surrogacy, that she doesn't want to get divorced, and that she desperately needs me to take the baby for just an hour. Again, I said, "Why don't you call brother-in-law?" She didn't answer, just stared at me. So I said, "The newborn is your responsibility. Don't bother me about it again, and I suggest you start looking harder for a new place to live." She started screaming at me, calling me names, and saying karma will get me. Then she packed a bag and left with a baby. I'm guessing she's at her mother's because her family and her sister's husband have been calling me all day. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the newborn is her responsibility and not to bother me? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You're an unwilling participant in all this. Why should you mop up the mess? Honestly, I just want the divorce to be over with and just raise my kids in peace. You did the right thing by divorcing. She chose the brother-in-law and sister-in-law over her husband and family. You have no need to show her sympathy or compassion. Not the a-hole. She literally told you either you accept it or leave, and you left. Now everyone is trying to make you feel bad? You're just doing what she asked. I wouldn't be handling this nearly as well. Unreal that anyone could do this to a partner. Nope. Her body, her choice, and her consequences. It's harsh, but it's true. And his body's his choice. So he can take his body for a nice relaxing day instead of babysitting his soon-to-be ex-wife, but not his child. Not the a-hole, but brother-in-law should be stepping up and taking care of his kid. If sister-in-law dies, he's probably gonna stick your ex with a baby. Well, since she's getting a divorce, brother-in-law can just marry her instead. Problem solved. Nah, now brother-in-law has 2 identical wives. Problem doubled. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being upset that I found out my wife was pregnant via social media? I'm 29 and she is 27. We've been together for 4 years, married for 2, both from the same hometown but currently living in a different city. She's at our hometown for a family event and I stayed back due to work. We've been trying to get pregnant for 3 months and now it's happened. The problem is the way I found out about it. My friend congratulated me by posting a screenshot in our group chat. A screenshot of an Instagram story posted by one of my wife's friends. The post showed my wife crying and hugging some of her friends with a caption, "You are going to be the best mom." I called her right away and she answered pretty quickly, saying, "I have news, babe." All I said was, "I know, you're pregnant." She replied, "Wow, babe, how did you know?" I just said, "Saw it on Insta. Didn't think to call me first, huh?" She said, "What? I didn't post anything." I responded, "Yeah, but your friends did." That's one way to find out I'm going to be a dad. Thanks. And I hung up. I was furious. She kept calling me, but I didn't answer until my sister called shortly after. My sister asked me what was going on because she just arrived at my in-laws' house, and everyone was freaking out, fighting, and my wife was locked up in her room. I told her what happened, and she said, "There's no way she would do that." I replied, "Well, she did." My sister said she was going to find out what was going on. A little later, my sister called me back and explained everything. At that point, I'd calmed down, thinking it was just a crappy friend who decided to post without permission. But my sister filled me in on the details. My wife was late on her period, and while hanging out with a friend, they thought, "What if you're already pregnant?" So they bought a bunch of pregnancy tests, all of which came out positive. They freaked out, told her parents, and then texted some friends in town to come over. From the time she found out to the time her friend posted on Instagram, only 2 hours had passed. My wife told at least 10 people before telling me. For the record, my sister told me that the argument going on when she arrived was because the other friends were upset with the one who posted on Instagram. Apparently, they all thought it was a crappy thing to do and were mad at her. But they also couldn't understand why my wife hadn't told me sooner. I finally called my wife and she was crying. She apologized and said she'd been planning to surprise me, which was why she hadn't told me yet. I was skeptical and pointed out that if she'd really wanted to surprise me, she wouldn't have been ready to tell me right when I called. She went silent, and I told her I needed some time to think. She yelled, saying I couldn't just walk away and that we needed to talk about it. I replied, "Why do we need to talk? So you can lie again?" And I hung up. A ton of people have been messaging me, but I'm honestly exhausted. I don't know why, but this has drained me. I've cried randomly, which is unusual for me. I'm not a crier. This isn't supposed to be a huge deal, but it feels like I've been hit by a truck. My sister sent me a message that really stuck. "Hey, I know this sucks and it was crappy of her, but don't let this ruin it for you. You're going to be a dad. You're going to be an amazing dad. This is great. The only thing keeping me going right now is knowing that I'm going to be a dad. I've dreamed of this, and all I hope is that this baby is healthy. I'll probably swallow my pride and pretend I'm fine just to avoid making my wife too emotional during the pregnancy. But I'll do that tomorrow. Tonight, I'll just sulk." That's some crappy behavior indeed from that one friend. Who the heck steals a pregnancy announcement? Also, she just took a pregnancy test. There is no way to know if that embryo will make it past the first trimester. That's why most people wait to announce. That friend is either the stupidest girl on the planet or she did it on purpose. Damn, that actually sucks. Only way I would be on your wife's side here is if she was planning on doing some kind of surprise to get your reaction, but you catching her on a lie pretty much ends that possibility. All I can say is that I hope your baby is healthy and good luck with fatherhood. See, I consider that too. Except anybody that's planning a surprise wouldn't tell another 9 people. And they would swear the friend that talked them into taking the pregnancy test to secrecy. But nope, she went on to tell 8 or 9 more people, including going to her parents. She texted people to come over because she was pregnant, but she couldn't text the baby's father? That's like every red flag wrapped up together. Not the a-hole. And my thing is, she was so excited, she told everyone, but you. Called her parents and random friends, but not you. Her husband, partner in life, and father. I would be hurt, and also it would make me question things. You should have been one of her first thoughts, not last. He wasn't even last. She never called him. He had to call her. Too much social media. There is a certain type of person. I choose not to share pictures of my little ones online as I want them to have control over what is shared. But they have ended up online because my sister-in-law couldn't just enjoy a family get-together without sharing it with her followers who most likely don't care. Then I have a different sister-in-law who is intent on creating an alternative life on social media where everything is perfect. So when my kids go to play with their cousins, they all have to have a forced photo shoot whenever they do anything. Just getting kids to look at a camera at the same time is nearly impossible when you have more than one under 5 in the mix. So it always leads to tears. I remember my nephew crying on his second birthday because he just wanted to play, but he wasn't allowed to until his mom had got the perfect photo of him standing next to the perfectly coordinated balloons and tablecloth. People are stupid. Edit/mini update. I posted this into the Reddit void, thinking nothing of it, and woke up to thousands of comments and dozens of DMs. Holy smokes. Thank you so much for caring. Just to clarify a couple of things. 1. Do I think the baby might not be mine? Classic Reddit, lol. No chance she cheated. She works from home and we have some home security cameras inside the house, so that's not happening in our house. She does not do girls' nights. Her best friend in the city we live in is a female coworker of mine, and we hang out, the three of us, often. They text each other a lot, but almost never hang out one-on-one. And if they do, it's at our house with me in the next room. Also, my wife is the clingiest person alive. Like when I'm at work, she texts me every 30 minutes. And when I'm at home, she's always at least in the same room I'm in, if she isn't cuddling up to me. When we are out, she's always holding my arm or my hand. Literally does not leave my side. I honestly actually love it most of the time. I feel loved. But it is too much sometimes. And we had a fight about it weeks ago. I even questioned if this fight was the reason she didn't tell me right away, but it's probably not it. 2. About her friends. They're all very nice people. I've known them for a long time now. My sister is part of the friend group, and some of them have been friends since they were like 12. My wife is the only one that lives in a different city, so they always hang out a lot when she is in town. I cannot emphasize enough how out of character this whole situation is for her. She has many flaws like every other person, but being inconsiderate is not one of them. That's why I woke up in the middle of the night with a feeling like I'm actually completely wrong on this, because she would not do this on purpose. There is no way. So I sent her a text just saying that everything is fine and that I will drive the 4 hours down there to talk. She was actually awake and asked if she could call. She did and said she wanted to come home. I said that I was going over there to pick her up. She asked, "Are we okay?" I just said yes, and she started to cry. I told her that I'm very happy and I'm dying to see her, but we will need to talk about it. She calmed down a bit after that. That's when I opened the post again and saw all the comments. I asked for a day off and my boss was fine with it, so I'm actually going to my hometown right now. I will update when it's all settled. Last story. Would I be the a-hole if I disowned my parents after my mom refused to take care of me after I give birth? So I, 28 female, I'm 30 weeks pregnant with my first child and I'm about to move to another state. My mom has this thing where she takes care of my siblings when they give birth until they recover. She did it for my older sister and my brother's wife, so I thought she would do the same for me. But a week ago, she told me that she couldn't because it's too far away. We got into a fight about it, and I told her to get out of my house. Now we're not talking. Before you judge me and say that my mom isn't obligated to take care of me, let me explain that it's not about her taking care of me. It was never about that. I've always been the one child in the family that nobody really cares about. My parents claim they love and treat us all equally, but it's painfully obvious they love me a little less than the others. I even thought I might be adopted. But nope, I'm 100% theirs. It's always about how my other siblings are doing or how my mom and dad are suffering. But it's never about me. It has never been about me. My birthdays? They rarely celebrated them because my mom and dad either forgot or just threw something together at home and called it a party. My high school graduation party? Nope. My parents had already spent a lot of money on my big brother's college graduation party, so they couldn't afford one for me. They said they'd make it up to me, but did they? Take a wild guess. If you guessed no, congrats, you're right. They helped cover my siblings' wedding expenses, but when it came to my wedding, they said, since your husband comes from a good family, we don't need to help with expenses. Not my words, theirs. I've always been the one who listens to my mom and dad vent about their rough days, or who helps my mom because my older siblings have a lot of schoolwork, or my younger siblings are too young to help. They always tell me I'm a good daughter, but I'm never the one they brag about to their friends. I've done everything I could to make them proud, but my achievements have always been below my siblings. I've tried talking to them about how I feel multiple times, but all I ever got was a scolding about how I was getting spoiled. I hated my life until I finally moved out, but I never had the courage to let go of them completely, thinking they would change. Well, my mom just proved me wrong. Mind you, my older sister lives across the ocean, but my mom decided that taking a 10+ hour flight to another continent twice wasn't too hard. Yet suddenly, a 4-hour car ride to my house is too much? Especially when I'm in a place where I don't know anyone except my husband. I'm so tired of being put below everyone else. I've decided I'll make things right between us before I leave because I don't want to end things on a bad note. But once I'm settled in my new house, I'm cutting all contact. I don't have the energy to deal with this anymore. Besides, I have my amazing husband with me, and we're building a family where I'll be loved and appreciated for who I am. Note, I'm the third out of 5 children. Not the a-hole. Tell her you can't keep in touch. It is too far away. It's not just about OP's mom refusing to help. It's about a lifetime of feeling neglected and undervalued. Cutting contact is a form of self-care in this case. It sounds like OP been trying to earn their approval her entire life, and they've consistently let her down. She deserves to feel loved and supported, especially during such a vulnerable time in her life. Not the a-hole. Yes, I agree with you. Make nice with your mom while you're visiting this time, and minimize contact when you get back to your own home. It could be that your mother wants you to beg and plead. Oh, mommy, pretty please. Come help me. I need you. But my reaction is, F that game playing. Put your energy on your husband and build a new support network where y'all live now. Not the a-hole. Put them on a strict information diet. Stay off socials. Inform your husband and his family that you want nothing posted on social media. Do not let them know when the baby is born or when you go into labor. Do not answer the phone, respond to email, texts, etc. Put them on a ban list too at the hospital if you have to. Gather more evidence of them singling you out. Then when asked by others, you give them the full story. Maybe shame will cure them. Not the a-hole. It sounds like your parents have taken you for granted, and now they're doing the same thing to your child? No. Stand proud of your decision. The people you allow in your child's life should be people who value them.